Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome to The Long Dark. So if you're not familiar with The Long Dark, it's a survival game. It's been in the making for a couple of years now, I'm not sure. 2012? Maybe. And it has been in survival mode for quite a while now. And finally today, they updated to their story mode, which I've been super excited about. And we're going to be doing a series on it. It's probably going to be periodic, because there's only 2 episodes out right now. But there's going to be more episodes coming on the way. So anyway, let me double check. I did go and make sure this was all good before. Let me make sure it's saved. We're on ultra quality, which doesn't mean a ton for this game, because this game is kind of minimalistic looking. And yeah, survival mode was the mode they had in the game for quite a while, but now they have the authored episodic story mode for The Long Dark. And I'm pretty excited. There's 2 episodes here, and we'll be playing through both of them, and more, like I said, once it comes out. Kinsey and Dr. Greenwood are separated after their plane crashes in the northern Canadian wilderness. Struggling to survive, Mackenzie explores the small town of Milton. Begins to understand the scope of this quiet apocalypse. I really am very excited. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I've said I was going to do a series on it when it did finally come out. Who's whispering in my ear? Stop that.
Astrid. Astrid!
Ow. That looks painful. What do I do about that? Interact. Okay. Let's yes, remove metal. Oh, don't like that. I removed it. That actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it would.
I need to find some shelter from this wind.
Let me make a few settings changes really quick. We're going to bump up voice volume. And I think bump down sound just a little bit. Hoping to get a better mix. And hear his voice a bit better. Okay, we're low on health. Blood loss. Injuries. And we're getting cold. I played this game off and on over the years. I put a lot of time into it, I have. Okay, I've got that scrap metal shard. That's going to take some time, though. I put a lot of time into this game over the years, so I'm mostly familiar with... Wait, what? Oh, do I have to hold? Okay, hold. Study treatments and learn to triage. There are many ways to die in the wilderness. Medical treatments, man-made or harvested from the natural world, will save your life. Use the status screen to check on your health. Apply treatment using the first aid radio menu. You can also use treatments from your pack menu. Check your controls. They have changed the interface and stuff a lot over the years. And it has been probably a good, 4 to 6 months since I last played. So you're going to have to forgive me if it takes me a little while to pick up the controls, because they did change the interface. Fire provides heat, water, food, protection. You need all the fixings. Fire starter, tinder, and fuel. Accelerant speeds up the process. Fuel types impact burn time and heat production. An active fire can be used to cook and boil water as well as keep you from freezing to death. Good idea. What isn't a good idea is that there's, like, spooky spaghetti back here. I think we need to start a campfire. Okay. So let's see if I know how to do this. So here's our character. It's kind of sad. We are bleeding at the moment. Okay, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to check controls really quick. So what's accessible interactions? Ah, I see. That does not tell me the control... Key bindings, yes. Radio menu space. Okay. You can't jump in this game. So we want to make a fire right here, and we're going to... Actually, it doesn't make a difference here. They probably rebalanced some stuff, so it's going to be a little bit different than I'm used to. Sticks used to be a really good way of starting a fire, but they didn't last very long. But that they seem like they've changed that.
Come on.
I have no idea if this is going to be a really good series or not. It might be really slow-paced, and if you're not into that sort of thing, apologies. But it very well could be the case.
It worked.
Yes, it did. We are going to drop cedar log on that to increase the heat. And I think my heat levels are increasing now. What's the button? Tab. Tab gives you like a really quick bit of information about what's going on. We are slowly losing health, so we should try to remedy that if possible. I think I've got what I need to remedy that, though. Okay. Alright, so we've healed from that, and then our hand was wounded. What do we need to fix that? Can we fix that? That's for infection. No, I don't think we can fix that. I think that is just a heals over time thing, if I'm not mistaken.
That's all I have in me. Need to lay down before I fall down.
Alright. It's very obviously going to be tutorials through this, but it's good because I probably need a refresher.
Gotta be a way to melt some snow.
Status is your early warning system. The preview of your current condition. Anytime one of those status indicators is empty in red, means you're losing condition. Lose all your condition and you'll die. So basically, your condition, it's that little med kit looking thing down there.
I might be stuck here a while. Better see what I can use.
Condition is basically health. And if you lose all of it, you're dead. You can't, you can get really cold and start freezing, but it won't kill you right off, but it will lower your condition over time. Same thing if you get really hungry. You'll start losing condition. If you're really thirsty, you'll lose condition. If you get too tired, you'll lose condition, I think.
Looks like debris from the crash site above.
We're going to collect everything. I'm not used to this clicking and holding thing. That's a new one. Alright, that is a really good food item. It's very light and it's got lots of calories. More matches. So, there's a mechanic where you can break down things, like wood and stuff. Am I cold? I'm getting colder. You can break down things, like wooden things and large sticks and stuff. Some of them require tools, some of them don't, but almost always tools make it faster. What do you mean I don't need these yet? What kind of survival game is this? Okay, anyway. We're not too cold yet, so I actually am going to break this down. That's going to take us 12 minutes, during which time we're going to get a little cold. Ah, there were things in the box. That's a new one. So maybe we should break down some more stuff. We are very hungry right now. Right, that's accelerant. That not only makes you much more likely to start your fire, but it takes a whole lot less time. So that's a pretty good thing too. Cardboard box is good for getting tinder out of.
Head feel thick.
But it's not anything we can we can do more fire with, if that makes sense. So if we're out of tinder, that's a good idea. We're going to go back in the cave, start another fire, and what they want us to do is boil some water. Oh, okay, I think you can use the same spot. So we got a 95% chance of success. If I use the accelerant, it's 100%. It's not worth it. Books have a really good burn chance. Actually, let me double check. There was a thing in the past where you could read books. Well, certain books, I should say. Let me see if this is one of them. No, this isn't. This is just like not important book. So we are going to start that. The way it worked before, and I'm assuming it's going to work similar now, is the more you start campfires, the better you get at them. And so you have a higher chance of starting them. I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily here or not, but that's how it was in the sandbox. A couple months ago. I haven't played since they added this new UI. It was a little bit different before.
Fire's life out here.
Alright, we're going to add some reclaimed wood. So, different fuel types, it doesn't look like it tells me. Different fuel types have different burn times. Also, the more fuel you add, your heat output goes up. And sorry, I'm using Imperial units like a silly American, because that's all I understand. So anyway, you start by melting snow over a fire. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. Then, you can do one of two things. You can boil it, which we're going to do. I think we have enough fuel to do. Oh yeah, we have more than enough. Or if you got purification tablets, you can use that. But that should be good for right now. Water's pretty heavy, in case you aren't aware. That's a good 1.5 pounds just for a little bit of water. But we drank a good amount of that, so now we're not thirsty. Missions. What is that? Find and eat some food for strength. Okay. I'm gonna throw that on there really quick so we don't have to start another fire.
Getting weak.
So let's, are there any more boxes? I wonder if the cardboard boxes have things in them too. Let's break it down. That fire might end up just going to waste. No, that only gives you tinder. Okay. Based upon what I remember, sticks keep spawning.
Freezing.
So you want to... Oh, I'm cold. So you want to keep picking up sticks if you can. I think they're heavy, but you can burn them pretty quickly. Okay, can't get rose hips. That's interesting. So let's see if we can find some food. I don't think it's really feasible to get down from here, though. So I'm not exactly sure where they want us to find any food. Unless there's some food hidden around somewhere. Yeah, there's more rose hips. I do need them. Don't tell me this. So there's a lot of plants you can use to make like teas and stuff with and like drinks with. And they give you small amounts of calories too. And I was hoping I could do that, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I am slowly losing health. You regain health from condition from sleeping. If all of your stats, aren't at minimum, and you sleep, then you'll actually regain small amounts of condition. You can't really apply a med kit and get a bunch of health back or anything. Unfortunately. I am pretty stumped. What do they want me to do? Oh, I'm an idiot. They gave me an MRE. And that's a really big food item. Gosh, I'm stupid. Alright. Now we're good.
Shit. That cut smarts. Better make sure it doesn't get infected.
Yeah, this is tutorial level. I'm coming to the realization now. Can't run because I'm cold or tired or weak or something. Or they just don't want me to run. So basically, when you get cuts, there's a chance for infection. You want to avoid that if possible. In all of my sandbox games, I've never had an issue with running out of, like, medical supplies generally. But the treatment did not do anything. Did I take the wrong thing? Oh, I don't need antibiotics. I need antiseptic. Whoops. Alright. So the infection risk is gone.
I don't feel so good. I need to rest up.
Our campfire's about to go out, bud. We're gonna get cold real quick. I don't know what he's resting on. Maybe that, like, little leaf pile. The bear's really gonna come in here for real.
I'm gonna need a good long fire to keep from freezing to death.
That was always the thing. If you saw bones outside of, or inside of, I should say even, a cave, you knew that the bears were coming. Okay. So, anyway. It's getting cold, and scary stomach noises. It's getting cold, so we need to make a bigger fire. Because we don't have really that good of clothing. Probably going to break down one of these crates.
If I don't have enough firewood to last the night, I might not make it.
Can't get those yet. They're being really nice and throwing firewood all over the place. I can guarantee you in normal gameplay, this doesn't happen. I mean, you'll see stuff like this
cold
if you go in houses, but you won't see this kind of thing just sitting outside with like sticks and stuff everywhere. Okay, we're gonna break down one box and then we're gonna go back in. Not highly recommended because I'm losing a bit of condition, but these boxes seem to have things in them, which is a new mechanic. It's kind of interesting, actually. We're going to break down one more, despite my better knowledge. That had nothing in it. That was disappointing. Okay, let's go inside. So, we're going to start campfire again. We're going to use another book. And I think we'll be good. So yeah, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to start a campfire and then throw on a bunch of fuel. You want to save... So books are heavy, I remember. Books usually are like a pound or two.
Come on.
They're really good fire starters. They don't last very long, though. And they're heavy. So if you're having issues with weight, you can burn them. But if you're not, they're usually good to hang on to just for, fire starters. Especially early game. Later game, you didn't need them as much because your fire starting ability was better.
It worked.
Congrats. We're going to add some more fuel. So firewood obviously is really good. Oh yeah, there's a mechanic where you can make torches. You can pull like sticks out and make torches if you have a big enough fire. And we are warming up. So let's take a look at this menu. Okay, yeah, so they introduced a wet mechanic at some point. I do remember that. I actually like this UI thing. This is really nice. It's a lot better than it used to be. It used to be confusing. Like, there's inner layers and outer layers. You'll be wearing like a inner sweater and then a shirt on the outside, or pants, or like underwear and pants, and some socks and then bigger socks. And it was always kind of hard until you got used to it to tell exactly which was which. Alright, so we got some tinder plugs. Okay. So they had a thing where you could break down or like make things into other things. I think it was more break down things, but you could like take sticks and turn them into tinder plugs. I remember that. Newspaper, turn it into tinder plugs. It's actually a good idea. You actually do want to do that. You can take cloth, turn it into bandages. I think they introduced that one fairly recently. No maps. Build a fire in a cave that will last the night. 9 hours. Okay, so we need a 9-hour fire. In fact, I don't know if we're supposed to do this, but I am going to go ahead and melt some snow. Might be useful for later. This is usually what you want to do. It's all time management in this game. You know, you need a fire to get through the night if you're not inside of a building. You need a fire to cook, you know, and so you want to double use things. Like if you're just trying to pass time, it's usually a good idea to, we're going to do this really quick, to make a fire and then use it to boil water, basically.
That should last me through the night. So tired.
There's a lot of little things that I'm probably going to have to explain if you're not used to a game like this. Because there's a lot of little quirks and stuff, and I don't know how many quirks are still in the game.
Thought that storm would never end. I need to find some food.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drink some of that water we made. Almost 3.5 pounds for half a gallon. Ooh. Alright. So we need food. I'd hate to waste this. I don't know. I'm going to melt a little bit more snow. And then we'll go. I think they adjusted the timing for melting and boiling water too. I do remember you used to have to have a pretty good campfire to melt and boil like a lot of water. I think they lowered that, which is kind of nice. Crows. Pay attention to your surroundings and you might glean information that's important for your survival. For example, a murder of crows circling ahead might suggest an animal carcass, or even a human corpse might be nearby. That was a thing. You also want to collect their feathers if you can.
So hungry.
Okay. They're clearly saving that because I think it's also a medical item. Those rose hips. They're clearly saving it so they won't let me do anything with it yet. No more sticks. Gonna break that box down really quick though. I remember when the game first came out, they did a lot of balancing.
Blew that tree clean over.
Cool. There's a lot of balancing in the game because it used to be really hard to survive out, but they've added and balanced a lot of things, making it a whole heck of a lot easier to do.
Astrid's pack.
Okay, this is story thing. Never seen this thing.
Locked. Jackrabbit Remote Transport, Mackenzie speaking. Whoa, well, slow down, Maureen. What are you talking about? It's okay, Maureen. I've got it from here.
Hello, Will.
What are you doing here?
It's been a while, I know.
Yeah. Years. I haven't heard from you since...
I know. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't important.
Well... What brings you... I mean... Are you sick?
No, not me. But I need to get to someone who is.
Right. So you're still a doctor?
Yes, I'm still a doctor.
I thought that after... Why are you here?
I need your help. There's an isolated community in the northern part of Great Bear. Someone there is very sick.
Great Bear? There's nothing there anymore. Not since...
I know. But I have to get there.
Still trying to save the world, huh?
Somebody has to.
What's that supposed to mean?
Mackenzie... Will... I didn't come here to fight about the past. I need a pilot to take me somewhere remote. Someone who won't ask too many questions. Someone I can trust.
Wait. Questions? Astrid, are you in trouble?
Are you gonna help me, or not?
What's in the case?
See, there's that thing about no questions, remember?
What's in the case, Astrid?
No questions.
Look, the weather out there is bad. Bad. But it's getting worse. You walk in here after years. I could have been dead. You could have been. And then you show up and you want me to just risk my life flying into the middle of the great northern nowhere to deliver you in some mystery metal case to some remote wilderness outpost. All because you walked in here and asked me to?
Yes.
Astrid, you can't bring him back.
This isn't about that.
I know how hard it's been.
No. You don't know, Mackenzie. You don't know anything.
You don't think I feel it too?
Are you gonna take me or not? The longer I wait, the worse it'll get. Damn it. I don't have time for this.
Wait. The worse what we'll get? Why do I have a feeling you're not talking about the weather?
Because I'm not.
Throw your bags in the plane. I'll get started on pre-flight. Better buckle up tight, because it's going to be a rough ride.
I like it. I like the story so far.
Whatever's in this case, Astrid was ready to die for it. I hope she hasn't already died for it.
They showed some footage. Okay, I can't open that. They showed some footage at some point.
I could probably climb there.
Can we? Okay, that's a new mechanic. It's climbing up walls. Will's coat. And the wilderness clothing is like armor against the elements. Wear layers to stay warm, and remember, wind is your enemy. Clothing offers different protection from cold and wind chill. Oh yeah, so they have a multiple level thing they're about to explain, but basically, there's like warmth, and then there's wind chill. And some clothing will like do really good at one and bad at the other kind of thing. Your clothes can get wet from blowing snow, or if you fall into water, which makes them ineffective and increases your risk of hypothermia or even frostbite. Keep your clothes as dry as you can. Finally, clothing can protect you from physical injuries, as from falling or tangling with wildlife. Alright. So, there's the deer. But yeah, I like the visual style that they have in this game. It's very minimalistic, and they did a really good job, I think, from what I've seen so far, making it really minimalistic with the cutscenes, too. Alright.
This carcass could save my life. This doesn't look too good, but what choice do I have?
Alright, so... Takes time to harvest. It is frozen, so it takes longer than if it was thawed. Probably not a great idea to do all of that at once, but we're going to do it anyway. When starving, you may feel desperate enough to take your chances, but in general, eating raw meat is a bad idea. Cook it over a fire to avoid getting food poisoning, or parasites. Alright. You can get multiple things from animal carcasses, depending on like what kind of animal it is and stuff. Anyway, we are hungry, and we also are very cold, so I'm going to start another fire. And we'll start cooking all that food. It is going to take a little bit of time. Doesn't look like they're doing the same mechanic of making making you learn how to start fires better every time you do one. They might have done away with that. It took a long time before you got good, because it was always in 1% increments. And I think you start at like 50 or something, like a 50% chance to start a fire. And every time you successfully started one, it went up by 1. So it wasn't until you got like pretty late game until you got really good at starting fires. Alright. So this is going to take a little while to cook. Yeah, it takes about like 15 to 20 minutes to cook each or something. I think it's 20. I think it used to be 20. We'll find out if I cook this last one. There's about 15 minutes left. Yeah, more or less. Could have burned a book, but that's okay. So we are losing health because we don't have any food. I actually should have stopped and eaten, but we're going to go ahead and do that now. So, just eat any of these. And a bit more. I think we could get by eating one more. Okay. So we've still got one left. I am going to once again take advantage of the remaining duration I have on that. And boil some water. And then I think our injury healed, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to go ahead and try to climb up that wall, because I think that's what they want us to do next. Are we going to have enough duration? We did. Alright. Let's see if that is our objective. Explore the ravine. Okay. What was the other thing? See if you're strong enough to climb out of the ravine. We might not be, actually. Yeah, we still have the plane crash injuries. It says we're not going to be able to climb, so I have a feeling we're going to attempt this and it's going to fail. Let me drink some water. There's a thing that kind of happens where some of the best gear is really heavy, as you'd likely imagine. In fact, I should put on that one thing I had that I got. Some of the best clothing is really heavy. Like this is pretty heavy. It's also wet from sitting outside. Can I not wear it? Or do I have to go to the paper doll thing? I think I might have to do that. Where? Okay. So it's a little bit wet. If I'm not mistaken, I think clothing dries out. It might dry out as you wear it. I'm not sure if that's entirely the case. But it definitely dries out if you're near a campfire. Slowly, obviously. If it gets fully 100% wet, I think it does become extremely detrimental to wear it. If I'm remembering right. It's like I said, it has been a while. And they very well could have rebalanced things. Alright, so let's see if we can climb. I have a feeling this isn't going to work. We're going to... Yep. Sprained ankle. Yep, here we go. Now rose hips. Craft rose hips into a preparation that can be boiled in water to produce a tea with pain-relieving properties. So, in order to do this, and they're probably going to tell us, we got to get a certain number of rose hips. I want to say it was like 24, but I'm not exactly sure. It might be like 8. And then you also have to have clean water. Thought I heard something. You've also got to have clean water. Okay, we can't run because our ankle's broken. And then you boil them together. So it's useful to have water on hand. First off, obviously for drinking. But you can also, if you're ever waiting around a campfire, just waiting to pass time or something, like if it's nighttime, but you've already fully rested and stuff, you can boil some tea, and then you'll have this, and it'll give you both, it'll give you a little bit of calories, and you'll get, obviously, the water that you put into it. And it has medical properties, too, but a lot of times, at least in the story, or in the sandbox, you end up with a lot more than you actually need for medical purposes, so you can just end up...
Feels so good.
You can't just end up, like, just drinking them for the calories, basically. There's also a mechanic, which I assume is still in the game, where if you drink warm liquids, you stay warmer. Like, you can go outside and resist cooling as much, and I think you warm up faster and stuff. Alright, so I assume next task is to make rosehip tea. You want to avoid making fires if you can, like having to start new fires if you're just running away for something really quick. Because every time you make a fire, you use at least one match, assuming that the fire was successful. And you use at least one tinder. Now, neither of those are especially rare, unless you're playing in maybe really hard difficulties. But it is something to keep in mind, especially if you're running low on matches. Usually that's not a problem. I've never had a point where I've run out of matches once I, got matches. It's always a later problem. Or it's always an early problem if I wasn't able to find them yet. Okay, how do we do this? I've got potable water. It's usually under food. Am I doing it wrong? You can also recover by resting as well. How do I rosehip tea? You've got to make prepared rosehips. And that takes some time. Okay, that's a new mechanic. Guess you kind of have to, like, squish them up. Now you can cook them. That is a new mechanic. I wasn't exactly expecting that. I'm going to go ahead... I don't need the rest of it right now. I'm going to go ahead and crush up the rest of the rosehips. Because I don't believe they're used for, like, anything else. Okay, so you need 16 rosehips in order to make prepared rosehips. So I can now go and drink the tea, which is cold. Campfire embers. Okay, that's okay. We'll just drink it cold. But yeah, it's cold. You can make it warm, and then it gives you additional benefits. It's good to make a warm drink before you go out, like, on a cold adventure. You can also reheat drinks as well.
Rest up. No telling what tomorrow will bring.